Your sensors are correct. Do not adjust your heading. You've discovered the Omega Particle, streaming to the Alpha Quadrant and beyond. Here's your host, the anchorman of the Federation, the Doctor of Dilithium. This is Jonathan Wiegand.
Welcome to the Omega Particle Podcast, and boy, it is finally here. I am so excited to finally talk about this. Man, the day has finally come. We can discuss the episode we have all been waiting for. Again, Paramount Plus, PP Plus has dropped this episode super early, like literally days after episode 6, Lost in Translation, came out, and it kind of sent all of Trek podcasts and content creators into a frenzy. We were like, whoa, yes! So we had like double the work in like no amount of time. And I feel like every new Trek episode that the fan base is waiting to drop, this has been the one all season since it was announced. And I mean, in Picard, we were waiting for the episode where the team finally got together and they assembled again. And for Strange New World this season, it was, this Lower Decks crossover. So we're bringing the cartoons into real life and we're bridging the Enterprise, the 1701, no dash. And I'll have to say, just to be up front now, probably my favorite episode. One of my favorite episodes of Strange New Worlds, hands down. I mean, simply because we're not only seeing this beautiful blend of comedy that Lower Decks practices meets the fun and interesting, serious tone of Strange New Worlds. Not simply that. Not saying, either series can't be one or the other. It's just nice to see them blend so well together, and we get these two, I guess, is that right, Luna? Luna, my intern, everybody. We get two first ever in Trek canon and history episodes this year. So now episode 7's the cartoon crossover. Can't believe I'm saying that about Star Trek. And then episode 9 is this musical episode that's coming in. And I don't know how I feel about that. The whole time I'm like, can these people actually sing? The jury's still out for me. If it's good, it's good. So we'll see, but I don't know. And to me, when they said it was a musical episode, it was like, are we finally going to get, the original TOS song in Strange New Worlds with the Luna, have fun editing that. Goodness, I hope we don't get that in the musical episodes, but you never know. And I, for one, am really curious what the fellow fans have to say about this crossover. I mean, I know I enjoyed it, but I have a feeling there's going to be some party pooper who's going to drop, well, the temporal division of Starfleet wouldn't let this happen. We saw that in tomorrow. And then what about the temporal Cold War? What about that? No one's bringing that to account. And so that's kind of like when you go to a party, everyone's having a good time, and then someone's like, do you know what? Let's talk about Nickelback, or let's talk about this really weird medieval thing that no one cares. Like, it's like, don't be a party pooper. This is great. I loved it. If you didn't like it, that's okay. But this episode is exactly what I hoped it would be. It's a fun hour of television and nothing more. If you haven't watched Lower Decks, then it might have kind of been a little taken off, like didn't really know what it was. But I mean, they mentioned the Bell Riots. They name dropped the Bell Riots indiscreetly, but it's one of those things like if you know, you know. And so I was just tickled pink that they did that. But before we get into this episode, another reminder, everybody. And I said last week we're not going to remind everybody, but I'm doing it again anyway, is that we need to support our writers and actors on strike right now, and hopefully they can win the day against these terrible streamers. The stream is weak. Go to the doctor. Just kidding. Now, normally I don't get political, but I don't think this is a political issue, honestly. Okay, that's my soapbox. That's all I'm saying. without further ado, let's review These Old Scientists. Luna, let's drop this beat. So I may sound like a broken record here, but Strange New Worlds has proven its versatility and its potential. It just, all season. It's defied expectations all season. I mean, we don't know if we're getting a rom-com, a freaking, TOS thing with aliens, communications, and then now we're getting a comedy cartoon crossover. So when this surprising announcement came out, I was kind of shocked. Like, I bet a bunch of you kind of scoffed at the idea, considering the stark differences between the two shows. Like, I mean, after all, Lower Decks is an animated series set 120 years ahead of the events depicted in Strange New Worlds, where we have, legendary names like Christopher Pike, and then Unachin Riley, and Noyota Uhura, and Mr. Spock, and they've etched their names into Starfleet history. And then on top of that, the tone and the contents of the shows diverge significantly. So not only is it a timeline issue, it's the tone of the show that's an issue. It's kind of making it almost impossible and challenging to fathom how you're going to have characters like Brad Boimler and Beckett Mariner, inhabit the world of this super serious, illustrious USS Enterprise 1701. Yet, remarkably, somehow, it managed to shatter preconceptions, demonstrating its ability to embrace the unexpected and weave this kind of narrative into a cohesive, captivating tapestry. It's kind of like the drunk guy painting a masterpiece. I don't have high expectations, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, we eagerly awaited this groundbreaking episode. I mean, the potential for dynamic character interactions and unseen plot twists, just made everyone really excited to kind of see these boundaries of time and genre kind of broken. And again, like I've said multiple times this season, Strange New Worlds has proven time and again that its creative vision knows no bounds. I mean, we're getting a freaking musical number in episode 9, which I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see. It's just again, you never know what you're going to get every week. It's so different. As I'm making this, episode 8 already has come out, and that's like a freaking war, war crime and war criminal episode, and it's very intense, no comedy at all. So to have that backed up against this Lower Decks crossover is just crazy. So it just shows and proves that this is really unique Star Trek that we're seeing for the first time ever. My hesitations about the creators of the show have been proven unfounded. This episode, These Old Scientists, or Those Old Scientists, I'm sorry, thank you for correcting me, Luna, it has emerged as a standout gem. It's boastedly like a brilliant and entertaining and even this comical time travel odyssey that kind of just exudes this old school charm. So I've really enjoyed it, and at first glance, the episode concept might appear too improbable to succeed, yet it somehow defies, like always, the odds, triumphantly, delivering and captivating a narrative that hinges on this heartfelt and optimistic connections, uniting these threads of the Star Trek franchise and universe, and plus this masterful execution of this, just blending the best elements of both worlds, intertwining the spirit of the original series with a contemporary flair of the present. You couldn't have gone wrong. Could not have gone better. The result is this delightful blend of nostalgia and modernity that just leaves viewers thoroughly entertained and eager for more. And I don't think we'll ever get another Lower Decks crossover, because I think this, well, you never know, because this bold venture to me, this adventure into the unknown, kind of exemplifies the show's audacious vision and unwavering commitment to keep pushing the boundaries of storytelling and pushing the boundaries of what Star Trek can handle. To me, they are the keeper of the keys when it comes to the Star Trek legacy, steering this famous crew into the uncharted territories that we get every week. So I am pleasantly surprised, like I mentioned before. And, we couldn't have gone wrong because we have this all under control by the masterful direction of Jonathan Frakes. This hour-long spectacle effortlessly evokes this heartfelt love letter to the expansive Trek universe that Frakes has been now known to produce. He did brilliantly directing in Picard Season 3 on a few episodes, and then now we see it again. And, this insightful commentary on the evolution of technology, and, even paying homage to iconic gadgets like the comm badge and the tricorders. It was written and directed by a fan, and you could tell that. And then, moreover, there's just, multiple generations of Starfleet crew members engaging in endearing moments of awe and reverence for their predecessors, so it kind of made everyone feel like no matter where you are in time, you always have your heroes and you always have people you look up to. And, with Pike, it was this delightful nod to Jonathan Archer. And then, of course, with Mariner and them, it was, the actual OG crew of the Enterprise. So it was really cool to kind of see Frakes and the writers set that up in a way that it wasn't, just overtly one-sided. That, no, we all have our heroes and we all have people we look up to, and that it'd be impossible to meet them one day, and how that would actually be for ourselves. And the episode's title, though, itself serves as an in-universe explanation for the origin of the original series name, while also playfully referencing a memorable episode from Lower Deck's debut season, adding another delightful layer of depth to the narrative. A noteworthy cherry on top of all of this already beautiful confection is this breathtaking animated opening credits, which I was really surprised to see. And that, to me, just further embellished, again, the visuals knocking out of the park, this grandiose grandeur that we've become used to with the Enterprise 1701. And I know I keep saying it. Luna was talking in my ear. She's like, why do you keep saying it? Like, because there is no dash. No dash on it. It's the original. The visuals draw us into the story and kind of set the stage. And again, even on the flip side, the animation showcases, remarkable attention to detail, capturing the essence of each character and just evoking that nostalgic and wonder, that with seeing that both old-time fans and new viewers can enjoy. So all these elements geniusly converge to create this extraordinary tapestry that honors the rich history of Star Trek, and also, kind of mentioned before, the modern flair. So it leaves us with this sense of appreciation, cherishing the legacy altogether while kind of being in new areas of Trek. And I would definitely say we are in new areas of Trek. This season 2 is unlike anything I've seen before. So just for a recap, if you didn't really watch, you were just kind of too excited to remember. So this hour commences with an animated reminiscent of Lower Decks as the USS Cerritos embarks on this routine inspection of a dormant portal, which was originally discovered by Pike centuries ago. But in a twist of fate, they inadvertently activate the portal and propel Boimler back into the past, with Spock, Leanne, and Number One are investigating the very same artifact. And strikingly, Boimler transforms into his live-action character, portrayed by the talented Jack Quaid, which I didn't know is son of Randy Quaid. So yeah, isn't that crazy? Weird. So this convergence of these timelines becomes an intriguing premise, further intensified again when it's like adding gasoline when you get live-action Mariner, who's portrayed by the dynamic Tawny Newsome, steps through the portal and plunges everybody into even more perplexing issues and challenges. But Pike and his crew display an odd familiarity with the concept of people being sent back or encountering alternate timelines, and seemed a little bit less surprised than one might expect as they endeavor to find a way to return them to their own timeline. The situation grows increasingly complicated. So the Enterprise predicament escalates with the introduction of the Live series' first versions of Mariner and Boimler, each hailing from different points in time. This merging of animated and live action realities kind of just showcase the show's innovative approach to storytelling. And it just, to me, the episode navigates between the animated and live action realms beautifully. And so made it a very unique one-time experience. And I feel like this bold experimentation adds an extra layer of excitement and curiosity to the show, and seeing what's possible. So the portal's originally taken by Orion scientists, and Pike gets it back and smooth talks them their way and kind of reiterates what Tawny said back on Cerritos about, the Orion scientists were the first to discover this, not Pike. And so it's just a fun episode. I didn't go into too much, but just a simple recap. But I will say, kind of moving on to Quaid and Newsome. So I feel like Jack Quaid does a remarkable voice work as Boimler on Lower Decks, and he's mainly known now for his work on The Boys as Huey. But man, that show just got real crazy in the last season. I kind of had to turn it off. I was like, this is a little too much for me and my sensibility. But I feel like Jack Quaid has often gone just underappreciated. But his performances, this live action counterpart, is nothing short of captivating. I mean, he just has this fanboy enthusiasm just bursting at the seams, and Quaid's portrayal is utterly charming as he's just joyfully immersing himself in the history he previously only encountered in books. So now meeting the very Starfleet heroes he idolized for so long. And on the other side of the coin, Tawny Newsome is equally impressive, just effortlessly embodies the fast-talking, wrecking ball energy of Mariner, whether in cartoon form or live action version. It's just her, and plus her interactions with young Spock and the sage advice she offers over cocktails just added a layer of just giddiness and delight to an already fun episode. And if you haven't, she's actually a great podcaster too. She does a Star Trek podcast with Paul F. Tompkins, and she's kind of just the same energy brought to that podcast. So check it out. I think it's called The Pod Directive. Yeah, Luna, we can plug other Star Trek podcasts. I don't think we're going to be competing with them, but yeah, I feel like moving back to the show and back to those old scientists, that the significance of Lower Decker's presence extends beyond just more comedic moments. There are plenty of those, as they navigate the complexities of the issue that they're in, but carefully treading not to avoid altering the future irreversibly, because their inclusion serves as a profound purpose, offering a much-needed reminder to the Enterprise crew of the value and impact of their actions. Although their experiences, interactions, the Lower Deckers kind of rekindled their sense of purpose and reinforced the profound importance of their mission and have a positive influence on the crew and on the old universes as a whole. Again, this episode masterfully blends humor and these mixed with these meaningful character moments, and the live action elements to it just create just this multi-dimensional narrative that we really haven't had before. And on top of Quaid and Newsome's exceptional performances that elevate the storytelling, it just didn't, to me when I first saw it, it seemed like a gimmick. It's a fun crossover gimmick that maybe we've seen with The Simpsons and Family Guy, or Futurama and The Simpsons, and it's just kind of like a terrible episode, but it's fun because it's they're in each other's worlds. And this wasn't it. We did have some fun in that regard, that seeing the two blend, but we're so much deeper than that. And that is not something to, and I feel like a broken record here, that is not something to shake a stick at. That is very difficult to do. And so I have to give hats off to them as well, to the writers and showrunners, because that is that's a very difficult thing to do. But moving on, the really funny part was seeing how they interacted with the future. So, for example, Boimler's talking about Pike's birthday, holds a special place as an official holiday, and celebrates the spirit of the leader, and then even the iconic phrase "ad aspera per aspera." is now on recruitment posters with Una and symbolizing, the inspiration that she did. And then, of course, Spock's legacy is intertwined with them, and seeing him and how he's kind of like, oh, this is weird now because Spock has emotions, and in our time, he never has emotions. He's just, straight-laced Vulcan. And so this profound knowledge of their lasting impact may seem a threat to the reality and to the timeline, but in actual, it's a gift. And that's how they leave the episode, that it's a powerful reminder to keep pressing forward and tirelessly striving to shape the future, that Boimler and Mariner now inhabit. So it kind of energizes the crew, because it's like, yeah, we're supposed to be doing these great things. Let's keep going. Like, I know it's hard right now and it's difficult. We just blew up a gas station. And if you haven't seen last week's episode, that will make no sense to you. But it's kind of, again, more depth, more than just a gimmick. And that's very insightful. And then there's another component to this episode that's very interesting. So as the episode unfolds, it also grapples with more immediate concerns, setting the stage for compelling storylines in the rest of Season 2 and possibly Season 3 and Season 4 of Strange New Worlds. So while the season has not delved deeply into the specter of Pike's dark destiny, his really negative future, the notion surfaces again as Boimler prompts him to contemplate the possibility that his future may not be as foreboding as he once believed. So it's almost this tantalizing idea that it's leaving me, and I'm sure the rest of the Star Trek audience, eagerly anticipating the ramifications of, the revelation of the beep beep chair. Could there be no terrible accident? Could there be nothing like we've seen? Is this, I don't know. But it's a stark reminder, kind of to Pike, that he still has to live day in, day out, even when the show doesn't explicitly mention it, or when he sees himself as though he's not haunted by the knowledge he carries about how his demise and his end will be. But thanks to Boimler's intervention and interactions, we see, Pike allow his crew to throw him a birthday party. It's a happy, weird moment, but it's perhaps the fact that he does know exactly how much time he has left will push him to put as much as he can into the relationships he has now, rather than worrying about things in days past or yet to come. So again, adding another depth, another introspection into the characters that we would have gotten even on a normal episode, but now it's like on a gimmicky cartoon episode, and it's still pretty impactful stuff. So last but not least, we have to mention one person, and that is Spock. So there's a similar subplot going on with Spock, although it's not as tied up nearly so neatly like Pike is, but both Boimler and Mariner are taken aback by how human Spock seems when they arrive. And he's laughing at jokes, he's smiling, he's being flirty with Nurse Chapel, and for them it's extremely distressing, and it should be, because all the critical things that Spock will go on to do and be, and the version of him that does those things is extremely Vulcan. So that version of Spock in the future has chosen to suppress most of the sorts of emotions that young Spock is clearly displaying. Boimler confronts Chapel about how weird Spock is behaving. He awkwardly realizes she's the person that's been influencing him to indulge his human side more openly. And I think Jess Bush is doing a great job as Chapel, but her brief scenes this week are some of her best yet, in my opinion, particularly her absolutely gutted expression when she realizes what we already know, that she and Spock have no future. Well, not really, and that no matter how she may want to believe otherwise, that it's in the stars, it's not happening. And who knows, is Boimler inadvertently planted the seeds of their breakup before the relationship is even off the ground? Is that how the timeline just works out that way? I don't know, but we will definitely see their breakup at some point in the show. just like probably Pike's beep beep chair, or maybe not. Maybe the writers will somehow work their way around that. Tough to tell. But that has been this week's episode of Those Old Scientists. So Luna, let's light this candle. Thank you all so much for listening. And boy, I'm so glad that this episode turned out to be done so well and written so well. And it just wasn't, like I mentioned before, the Futurama, Family Guy, Simpsons crossover gimmick kind of garbage. It wasn't McDonald's. It was actually great, like teriyaki chicken. It just wasn't garbage for garbage sake. It was really good. So I was very happy that they put so much love and effort into it. But also, we still had some kind of fun moments. Again, they freaking mentioned the Bell Riots, which made me go nuts. Maybe we should cover the Bell Riots. Maybe, Luna. Maybe in the future we might. Again, you guys can reach us all the time on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on, I guess, is it X now? It's not Twitter. It's X, whatever. Mainly on the Instagram, so please feel free to reach out to us and talk to us. We love hearing from you guys. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Helps the podcast out. And remember, gosh, it's already August. I can't believe it. But the good news is that, fall's coming around. We finally get pumpkin back. I know Luna's excited. Second star to the right. Straight on till morning.